Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arnel Madraso. So this will be the part two of the blog entitled Executive Functioning and its connection to language research, particularly bilingualism and trilingualism. Now, so research would prove that bilinguals are better in executive control compared to monolinguals. Now, let us be definite about the definition of executive control. Are there other distinctions in terms of the concept executive control? In the study of Madraso and Bernardo, 2012, uh, in fact, the authors looked into the levels of control. So there is response inhibition, lower level, and then there is higher interference suppression. Higher level of executive control, which is interference suppression. Now, Madraso and Bernardo 2012 really defined that their study was just looking at the response inhibition, the lower level, and that the hypothesis was there would be no difference compared to two bilingual, two language groups, bilinguals and trilinguals. And so, since in the Philippines there are no monolinguals, the authors opted to choose two language groups, bilinguals and trilinguals. So why trilinguals? Because if in the literature the additional language representation would boost executive control, it would be more likely that when an individual will have another language representation, then he would have higher executive control. So given that theory, that the additional language representation would boost executive control, then it would be more likely that trilinguals will have an increased performance in executive control. But then, in the study, the task cues were uh, only measuring lower level inhibition. And hence, it was proven in the study that there was no difference. Even if there is additional language representation, still the performance was more or less just the same. And the interpretation would be that uh, the response inhibition is just like a motoric reaction of the participants, and that there wouldn't really be higher interference or conflict because by bilinguals in the past compared to monolinguals would be having or manifesting higher executive control because uh, the bilinguals uh, experienced higher conflict. And in fact, in the study of Madraso and Bernardo, they only used not higher but lower level control. So, in the current study of Madraso and Bernardo in press, it's already to be published. First stage, it was already approved. So, what happened in the study? They used higher level inhibition, higher level. And this framework of higher and lower executive control levels, these are actually coming from Bunch et al., as cited by Bialystok et al. 2018, 2008. Bialystok et al. 2008 cited Bunch et al. That there are two levels. So, if you look at studies in the literature dealing with trilingualism and executive control and bilingualism, the definition of executive control in terms of levels are really not that well defined. But then in the study of Madraso and Bernardo, 2012, and Madraso and Bernardo in press are forthcoming, in the current study, the higher level inhibition, which is interference suppression, is well defined, and that we used Simon Arrow's task. So in the Simon Arrow's task, it would measure higher level inhibition or inhibitory control. So in the study, it was found that trilinguals are better compared to bilinguals in tasks like Simon Arrow's. So now, what's the future prospect for this, the direction for the next research if that's the findings? So in Madrazo Bernardo INPRESS, part of the recommendation would be to look into the research of Verrate et al. Because current studies on trilingualism and bilingualism vis-a-vis executive control would be looking into not only the number of languages one can speak, but as well the switching experience. How many times does an individual switch languages? Because if you keep on switching, that would as well affect one's performance in executive control. So frequency, more switches in 3 languages would have an effect as well, rather than for those who are claiming that they are trilinguals, but they are not frequently switching. So that is our proposal that we are working on. So now I am currently conceptualizing. I'll be coming up with a concept brief already to be published, not published, but to be submitted soon. So I'm just trying to put pieces together. But today I'm going to finalize the concept brief. So I hope you learned something from this blog and variables in language research such as bilingualism and trilingualism. Okay, bye. See you later.